one of the stories of Dad's life that I always recall that seems like it was a pretty big thing, a pretty traumatic thing, was him getting hit by the,
yes.
it was a school bus, right?
No,
You got hit by a car. You got hit by a car. So when was that, and what was that experience like for the two of you? Because were you about 10 or so?
10.
You were 10.
10. Yep.
Do you remember what happened? Or where you were riding? Because you're on your bike, right?
Yep. I had, the day that happened.
It was the 4th of July.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Was the 4th of July. I always went I can't say always went, but this particular year I was going to a Bible school, vacation Bible school at a nearby church. But because the 4th of July, they had a parade in our hometown. And
where was that?
An accident, Maryland. And I wanted to see that parade. And so what we were talking about, I forget.
You getting hit by the car.
I remember my two cousins and my brother. My brother was little. And I would ride him on the seat of my bike. And so
you guys are
8 years apart.
So he would have been 2.
Yeah.
He was
Just
real little.
Yes. So I had him on the bike, and I rode him out on the road in like just a little ways,
U-turn,
just went out on the road and made a loop and brought him back and set him off. So it was like he got to do something, he got to.
Yeah.
And like the very next time probably out, I went out on the road to ride the bike, just across. This was a country road, so it wasn't like.
Wasn't busy.
Yeah. It was 2 lane, but yet, there was no berms or, no. Anyway, we lived near top of a knoll, that the road, the paved road, come over top of a knoll, and then as it come down the hill to the right is where our road went off to the side, to get to our house. But so I went out on this road. Well, a car had topped the knoll, and I, was not aware whether I had just started to turn, so my face was not looking, at the top of but it was a guy who was home on leave, I think, from the military.
Yeah.
And he hit me on my bike. And
do you know about how fast he was going?
Well, it's only like 40 mile an hour on that country road, so from there down, and I'm sure he slammed on the brakes. Because my mom and dad were making a radio broadcast. They had a radio broadcast every Saturday morning on the local station. My dad was a preacher, and they had a program, and they were making a tape for the local radio station for that week. Well, the tire screeching and everything
is on the tape.
Is on that tape.
Do you still have those tapes?
No.
No. Okay.
And at that time, one of my two cousins came running up to tell them,
he's screaming, Uncle Wes, Uncle Wes.
Yeah, Steve was been hit on the bike, and cars hit Steve. But anyway, we didn't have a local ambulance.
Yeah.
But because of it being the 4th of July, and all the local fire departments from all around came.
Yeah.
They went to the parade and got an ambulance from the parade to come to
Yeah.
where I've been hit to
Which-
get me.
Yeah, which might have been vital for
Yeah,
you
yeah,
surviving.
It
yes.
was, it
Yeah.
was.
And
So what was
Let me-
so
Let me tell you how fast they were going. He had on tennis shoes, the old lace-up kind, that Converse, I think, makes them now.
yeah,
But anyway, they were laced up and tight on his. One of them came off.
yeah,
It threw him out of that shoe that was laced up, and the shoe was over here laying.
yeah.
It was a terrible time.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I've always heard the story from his perspective, which obviously, once you get hit, you're out.
He's out.
So I'm really curious what your experience was hearing that he had been hit and then coming to the scene. Like,
Yeah.
what was that like for you?
Well, I had the baby, which was Eric then,
Yeah.
the little one, and so Wes jumped in the ambulance with him, and they took him to Oakland, which was 25 or 30 miles, I guess. And the surgeon was there, wonderful doctor.
Yeah,
Anyway, he looked at Steve and he said he's got to go to Morgantown, which was
an hour,
yeah, at least an hour.
hour and a half away.
yeah,
Yeah. And so they sent him over there. He was unconscious for 13 days.
Yeah.
Something like that. 13 days. And I had to stay home with the baby, Eric. And Wes stayed at the hospital with him.
the whole time, yeah.
Yeah, the whole time we never left. And I would go back and forth as I could find somebody to take care of Eric. And on the 13th day, he opened his eyes and said, "Nurse." I guess he saw the white, they were dressed in
Yeah.
white, and he knew it. He was in the hospital.
Yeah,
And anyway, they sent him home with his head bandaged up, and they had drilled
To relieve the pressure.
his face. He
had
looked,
swelled up so
yeah,
bad.
and his eyes they were like this,
Yeah,
and so they drilled a hole on each side of the head here, and 4 on top. 4 holes on the top of his head to alleviate the pressure.
4 places were size of quarters, and these were size of 50-cent pieces. On the side, my head was shaved. I was cut from both ears up here, you know, and anyway, you know, they more or less said, if I lived, I lived. If I died, I died. They had done everything they could do.
They said he would be a vegetable if he lived.
yeah.
And we can see he is not a vegetable. And we prayed day and night. Wes stayed in the chapel.
I mean, 13 days is such a long time.
And then I was semi-unconscious for
Yeah.
a couple days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So did they send you? Were you still in the hospital?
Oh
at that
yeah,
time? Okay,
yeah.
so you're in the
I was in there
hospital.
for a month, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were there for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, you were younger. Like,
Yeah.
do you recall the feeling of waking up in the hospital?
Oh,
Or you remember that feeling?
I can remember that day. My bed was beside the window, like looking in the hall.
Yeah.
When and I seen the nurses in white, and I took it all in for a while, you know, like getting it squared in my mind.
Yeah.
What's happened? What?
Because did
Yeah.
you remember the impact of
No.
getting hit by the car?
No.
So it just all
Yep.
you just kind of woke
Yep.
up in the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was calm, you
Yeah.
know. It wasn't like waking up and thinking I've been kidnapped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like I just understood that something had happened, and I was where I was, and I wasn't afraid. You know. And but and it actually felt like I've been asleep for a long time.
Yeah.
I actually felt that way, like, man, You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, wow, it's good to be awake, you know, but
Yeah.
not even knowing I had been
Completely
unconscious
out
for 2 weeks, yeah, or anything of the sort.
When he,
But,
when you came home from the hospital, I don't remember how many days you were off from
Yeah.
school, but you went back to school.
yeah,
And the kids are so mean
Yeah.
and so
yeah,
have no feeling.
yeah,
Anyway, his head was shaved. He did look strange,
Yeah.
I guess, to them.
yeah.
They hit him in the head and beat him.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And I said, "What is wrong with you?" And
Yeah.
he told me
I had
what
to-
had happened.
My dad, who was a bus driver for long, anyway, he went to the principal, you know, and
He said, "This will never happen
you
again."
know, and it didn't.
Yeah.
But you know,
Do you remember what it was like to finally come home from the hospital? Like
I-
because since you were there for a month.
yeah, I don't remember that trip. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember the trip from the hospital home, but I remember being home.
Yeah.
And my head being shaved and everything, and but the teacher that I had for the coming year, okay, so this happened in July,
Yeah.
so that fall I was going into the 6th grade.
Yeah.
The teacher that I had for the 6th grade was the guy who drove the ambulance from,
Really?
yes, from the parade.
Okay.
So we almost had like a bond,
Yeah.
that teacher and me, you know. And from the year before, from the 5th grade to the 6th grade, the two teachers that I had knew each, you know, they were, and the one teacher had told the 6th grade teacher who drove the ambulance, you know, he said, I got more serious after this wreck, after all this happened. The 6th grade teacher was like, I didn't like cut up and wasn't as
Like you matured or something.
yeah, that it
It changed you.
yeah, I was like a completely different person from the 5th grade to the 6th grade.
Interesting.
And I actually I had an out of body experience
Mm-hmm.
when they took me to the hospital in Oakland.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't want to say waking up,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
And I've only ever told this to a couple people, but a part of me was above. It was almost like a part of me floated
Mm-hmm.
to the above my body,
Yeah.
laying on, and I was against the wall, and I was just looking, and but I can remember something saying, "You got to get back in there."
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you maybe not in those exact words, but you know,
Yeah.
it's not time to go yet, or what, but,
Yeah.
and I can remember, I seen the lights, you know, above, like, you know, that they have, like, you've seen it when there's surgery and all that.
Yeah.
I seen these lights, and I could hear the voices talking and everything, but I was up, like, near the wall or in the corner up high, you know, and I was looking down, and
And this is all in the ambulance.
no,
But this is once you're in Oakland.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is in the emergency room where the doctor said he's too bad, he's got to go
Yeah,
to Morgantown. Anyway, And I remember coming back close to my body, and then it was like you was back in yourself.
Yeah.
But for a while, I was up here, so I don't know if I was between death and, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
You very much had like a near-death
Yes.
experience. Right?
And Aunt Leona had asked me one time. She's the only person I remember telling that to, about that. She had asked me. She said about the accident, and did anything strange ever happen? And I explained to her what had happened. That yeah, part of me was up here looking at my body, you know, and but when I hear other people say that, I understand what they're saying.
You can relate to that.
I didn't see no long tunnel. I didn't see, you know.
Yeah.
But the part of me was up here looking, you know, down at my body, and I don't know how long I was up there. It seemed like for a while. But I can remember, you know, I take it was God saying, listen, you know, you're bad, but you got to go. You got to go back. And, you know, so, but that is one thing that happened in all that I'll never forget.
I knew
You know.
something else
No.
about that. His cousin
Oh,
had a dream
yes.
the night before this all happened. And in the dream, he said there was a big snake and it was trying to get a hold of Eric.
Steve.
No,
Oh,
Eric.
trying to get, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And you took a great big stick and
Yeah.
and hit that stick or hit that snake and drew it away from Eric. Next day this all happened, and I attributed it to it was meant for Eric when he took him down across the road and turned around and came back, and he set him off in safety from
Yeah.
the snake, and he took the brunt.
Yeah.
This is hard for me to talk about. Took the brunt of the wreck and everything to save his brother.
Yeah. So you kind of view that accident and everything that happened almost as Steve being a bit of a sacrifice for
Yes.
Eric.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Eric
Wouldn't
knows
survive
that.
Because Eric wouldn't
Yeah.
survive that. No way.
No.
But I can remember saying, you know, to my cousins, I said, I'm just going to do one more little thing out on the road and I said, it just take me a second.
Yeah.
Well, that second turned into a couple months, and the rest of my life, I guess, it had a hand, you know, kind of in
Yeah.
the way things transpired and all. But
I mean, everything can change in a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all it takes.
Eric
I mean,
is alive today
yeah.
because of his brother.
I broke this bone under my eye. I broke my leg. I had like cuts and everything. And my uncle was a state trooper, and he came to visit. I was still unconscious in West Virginia University Hospital.
Yeah.
And they said he went in to see me in the bed, and when he came back out, his face was as white as a ghost.
He had thrown up.
Wow.
It was traumatic.
They said my head was the size of a basketball, that I just had slits because my eye, it was so tight.
Yeah.
My eyes were, and they said there was not a place you could put a quarter, that my body wasn't black and blue.
Yeah.
So it was completely, you know,
Road rash?
yeah, and torn up and everything. And I remember because of this bone being broke under here, and it's supposed to, it controls your eyes from one just wandering off.
Yeah.
You've seen people that one eye's way out here, you know. Well, was the purpose of that bone. So I had to go back to the neurologist, you know, every so often until I was 16, because where my foot was broke was right in the growth joint, and they always thought one of my my legs are going to be shorter than the other one,
Yeah.
or what this eye here was going to wander. But everything was fine, and
I know something else.
well, you know more than me because
The boy that hit you,
yeah.
his family were insurance agents.
Oh, okay.
And we were poor. There's no way we could have paid anything to the hospital. And come to find out, we had the same insurance. We had insurance as he had and his family had. And they went to, I guess,
Bad for you.
yes. And we didn't know anything.
Wow.
We didn't know, 1 penny, we didn't have to pay anything.
Wow.
And he called, and he had to go back to the base wherever he was situated at the time. But he called all the time to see how Steve was, and he cried. You know, it was all your fault. Oh my.
But-
Yes.
Wow. That was I've never heard that thorough telling of that story. That's a story that I've heard many times throughout my life, but not to that degree. And sometimes it takes two different people and their versions of the story
Yeah.
to get a more clear picture.
I wish that we still had the tape, but I don't know, whatever. And all the movings, I guess it got lost. But I was playing the piano, I don't remember what. And you can hear Danny hollering, Uncle Wes, Uncle Wes. And a tire screeching.